I want to read you something. I wake up every morning already tired. I go to work, I do the job, I come home, I'm present for my family, I tick every box, and I feel absolutely nothing. I don't know what's wrong with me. My life is fine. I just can't feel it. That's not from a client file. That's from a Reddit thread posted at 11:47 p.m. on a random Tuesday, and it has over 4,000 upvotes. 4,000 people hit that button because they read those words and thought, that's me. That's exactly who I am. If you're one of them, if something in those words landed, if they hit you in the chest, stay with me. Because today, I'm going to give you 7 signs that you've gone hollow. Not depressed, not burned out, not ungrateful, hollow. And there's a specific difference. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which one you are and what it actually means. And I'll tell you right now, number 7 is the one that's going to hit you the most. It's going to sit with you after this video is over. And not because it's dramatic or crazy, because it's quiet. It's truth. And you've probably already explained it that way and explained it away. Hold on to that. But let's start at 1. First, I'm Jay. I'm an NLP and neurotrauma therapy practitioner and coach. I've worked with high functioning professionals who look completely fine from the outside, but like they're disappearing from the inside. I've also been one of them, twice at least. Once in Hawaii, once in Thailand. Both times, I lost everything I'd built. And both times, the hollow feeling was there long before the collapse. I just didn't see it. What I'm about to share is not clinical. It's not a diagnosis. It's a pattern. And I want you to know that patterns have names and names have ways back. So let's jump in. Sign 1. You're competent at your life, but you're not present in it. You show up, you do the work, you answer the emails, make the dinners, attend the meetings you have to attend. From the outside, you're functioning perfectly fine. But inside, there's a persistent sense that you're watching it happen and not actually living it. Like you're the audience at your own life instead of the main character. That isn't laziness. It's not distraction. It's disassociation. It's maybe a low grade, quiet version of disassociation that doesn't look like anything from the outside. There's a technical term for it. It's depersonalization. But the way that it's been described to me by clients and even by myself is a lot simpler. It's I'm there, but I'm not really there. It's if that sentence just described your last 3 months, that's sign 1. Sign 2, you've stopped looking forward to things. Not in this dramatic way, not like in an I dread everything way. It's more like the things that used to create anticipation, they just don't anymore. That vacation you planned, the promotion you got, that weekend that you were supposed to enjoy, they arrive and they're fine, and then they're over. And you feel the same as before. Maybe something hits for an hour or a day, depending on the level of it is, but you just feel the same as before. Doesn't stick. In psychology, this is called anhedonia. It's the reduced ability to feel pleasure from things that used to produce pleasure. It's one of the clearest markers of a hollow pattern. To be fair, it's also a marker of depression, but here's what makes it different from depression. You're not sad about it. You're just neutral. And that neutrality is honestly somehow worse than sadness because at least sadness is honest. So if you've been collecting experiences that should feel like something and feeling nothing, that's sign 2. Sign 3, this is a huge one. You feel guilty for being unhappy. I was here for so long. It's a trap inside of the trap because things aren't that bad. People have it harder, sometimes much harder. You have the job, you have the relationship, the stability. You have what you're supposed to want. So the emptiness, it comes with a chaser of shame. I have no right to feel this way. What's wrong with me? I should be grateful for what I have. And that shame loop, that's what keeps most people stuck for years. Because you can't take the feeling seriously enough to do anything about it because you can't justify it. Because your life looks fine on paper. It looks fine from the outside. In fact, people around you are sometimes envious of your life. And that moment that you say something about feeling dull or feeling hollow or anything around there, People remind you that you have it pretty good and other people have it worse. It's cyclical in the worst possible way. And here's what I want you to hear: the fact that you can't justify your unhappiness does not make it less real. It makes it harder to escape, if anything. That's the trap. Not a character flaw in any way, shape, or form. That's a trap. So if you've been carrying this emptiness and the guilt about that emptiness around, that's sign three. And honestly, it's one of the most common things I see. So signs four and five, I'm deviating just a little bit. These are a little bit more behavioral ones, right? Like things that you're actually doing that are keeping the hollow pattern locked in place. And when I name them, you might feel a little called out. And that's okay. That's the point here. We're naming things. So sign four is you're numbing, but you're calling it relaxing. Netflix after work. And let me preface this by saying relaxing sometimes is fine and sometimes it's very much needed in today's day and age, man. It's crazy. It's always so hectic and anxiety driven and everything. But hear me out, right? Netflix after work. You have the a glass of wine that became two. The scrolling that starts at 8:30 or 9 p.m. and ends at midnight when you should already be sleeping, and you have nothing to show for it. None of these are problems on their own, right? But when they become the primary way that you manage most of the day, when the goal isn't enjoyment but relief from feeling the feeling of existing, that's a different thing. The hollow pattern creates a specific kind of exhaustion that isn't physical. It's the exhaustion of performing yourself all day, of being the competent, reliable, fine version of yourself for 8 to 10 hours straight. And let me tell you about fine. I just did a video about it. Being fine is one of the worst places you can be. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And by evening, then, you don't have the bandwidth to actually feel anything. So you fill the space with input, mindless input, anything to keep the quiet from getting too loud. If your evenings feel less like rest and more like escape, that's sign four. Sign five, you keep starting things and then stopping. The journal that lasted 2 weeks, the morning routine that held for maybe a month until a chaotic Tuesday took it out, the course that you bought and never finished, the goal you set in January that you quietly abandoned in March. And every time it happens, the story gets a little bit louder. I can't follow through. I'm the problem. Maybe I just don't have what it takes. Here's what's actually happening: you're trying to change behavior without changing the identity underneath. You're trying to build new habits on top of a foundation that is cracked and hasn't shifted. It's not a discipline problem, it's a root problem. The behavior is a symptom, the hollow pattern is the root. And you can't fix a root of a problem with a surface solution. That's why nothing sticks. If you've been blaming yourself for not following through, and the real issue is that nothing you've tried has addressed what's actually wrong, that's sign five. Sign six, Sunday nights just feel heavier than they should. Not just work dread, it's something deeper. It usually starts around 5 or 6 p.m. It's this low grade anxiety that isn't really maybe about anything specific. Some things will come to mind, but it's every week, it's some different stuff. It's just this feeling. The week ahead, maybe, but also it's just something harder to name. A kind of existential weight that settles in as the weekend ends. And the weekend feels like an end, right? Monday feels like the beginning of, oh, I have to do X, Y, and Z again. What's actually happening is this: the weekend gave you just enough space from performing that you could almost feel something. Almost, but not quite. And now the performing is about to start again. And some part of you knows the gap between who you are on the inside and who you show up as on the outside is about to widen again for another 5 days. And that gap is exhausting. And Sunday night is when you feel it the most clearly. If your Sunday evenings have this specific quality of dread that's just always there, it's always something, and it goes beyond just not wanting to work, that's sign six. Sign seven, the one most people miss: you've stopped being curious. Not about big things, about small things. You used to have things that you were interested in, things that you would read about for no reason, things you'd get excited to talk about, a sense of, hey, I want to know more about this. And at some point, quietly, without announcement, that stopped. Man, was I here just a few years ago, honestly. A couple years ago. I was at this point. I started to maybe you feel this. Anyway, now you consume content, but you don't absorb it. You scroll, but nothing catches. You have conversations, but you're not even really in them. The world has become this series of things to get through rather than things to engage with. This is the one that looks most like a personality trait. People say, I'm just not that curious anymore, or I'm just not that kind of person, or something around there, as if it's fixed, as if it's who they are, this fixed state. It's not who you are. It's what happens when you've been living someone else's version of your life for long enough that your own signal starts to get buried under the noise and that weight. Curiosity is aliveness. When it goes quiet, it's not because you've changed. It's because something is covering it up. If you recognize that in yourself, if the curiosity that used to be there but has gone quiet, that's sign 7. And it's the most important one on this list, I think. So, 7 signs: competent but not present, no longer looking forward to things, guilty for feeling unhappy, numbing, calling it relaxing, starting and stopping, Sunday night dread, and the quiet disappearance of curiosity. Maybe some of these hit you. I've been I've hit every one of these hit me at some phase. Some of them, a lot of them together, actually. So you may recognize all of them. If you recognize in yourself though 3 or more of these, you're not broken, you're not depressed, you're not too far gone. You're the high functioning hollow. And that's a specific pattern with a specific cause and specific ways back from where you are. So here's what I want you to know before you close this video. The version of you that used to be curious, that used to feel things, that used to have this signal, that version's not gone. It's buried. It's buried under years of reasonable decisions and performing contentment and a guilt loop that told you had no right to want more. You have every right to want more. Not more stuff, more aliveness, more presence, more of the feeling that your life is actually yours. And I'll tell you what, other people need that too. Other people need that version of you that's alive, that's real, that's present. So many people are walking out there just hollow to the world, to what's going on, face buried in their phone all the time. We need you to be alive. And the path back, it does not require blowing everything up. It doesn't require quitting your job or leaving your relationship or making this huge dramatic gesture. It starts with naming the thing, which we just did. So drop a comment below with how many of these signs you recognized. I read every single one. And if you want to know what comes next or what we're going to talk about, what this actual path back looks like, subscribe, because in the next video, we're going to start changing things up for you. We're going to start getting back from this hollow feeling. And I just did a video on why feeling fine is the worst thing in the world. So check that out too. The link will be in the show notes. Like I said, in upcoming videos, we're going to start changing things. You've been waiting long enough.